update these, but the good thing is that the account is actually starting from day one. So today's day one in this account. We're going to keep track. So I'm going to show you something pretty interesting about SoFi stock. The technicals are setting up, in my opinion, to keep a close eye on this one because it could make a big move. And I'll get into what is going on with SoFi and am I going to add it into my portfolio here. Now, if you're new to the channel, welcome in. We normally take a fundamental approach to investing, but there's some correlations I really need to show you guys on SoFi. First, let's just take everything away from SoFi right now and just focus on what the chart is telling us. When we bring it down to a 1-year chart, we're definitely in this downtrend here that's being respected by the stock. Pretty clear to see. And even when we take that downtrend out even further, take a look at the respect that it's getting. Anytime we break above it, rips right back down this downtrend. We're getting a pretty substantial wedge formulating here, which is telling us that this is consolidating and it's definitely going to be making a pretty big move to either the upside or the downside. Now here's where it gets interesting. SoFi recently reported earnings, beat top and bottom line and raised guidance, but yet the stock price kind of just fluttered. If you're subscribed to my channel, you know that SoFi's book value is sitting right around $3.90. So it is definitely trading for a premium when we look at it from a traditional bank valuation standard. If we're looking at it from a fintech standpoint, definitely still a little rich, but could obviously have some more upside and multiple expansion. Now, if we compare it to another popular stock, that stock is going to be Robinhood. Take a look at the correlation here between Robinhood and SoFi, pretty much trading in almost identical unison. Towards the end of 2023 into 2024, we've had a pretty significant separation. SoFi definitely outperformed, but if we take it down to a 1-year chart, look at the divergence that's taking place here. Robinhood versus SoFi is pretty substantial. SoFi up right around 34%, while Robinhood is up over 103%. So I'm finding this one to be pretty interesting here. So just an update on my personal portfolio here. We just hit a new high going to 32, call it 32,300. Let's round up here really quick. This was rolled over from a TD Ameritrade account and now Schwab took over TD Ameritrade. So everything's changed and even some of my cost bases are a little wacky. So I don't know if they'll update these. I will point out the outperformers versus the underperformers. So we bought Cisco around $45. That's been an outperformer. Pfizer, we bought around $26. That's now an outperformer. Dutch Brothers has been carrying this portfolio, to be quite honest with you. And while all that's happened, we lost nearly $1,000 on CVS, but we've done a few different things here. We've collected a dividend from CVS. We wrote calls against it. So we minimized that loss to probably closer to $750 to $800. And with all that happening, our account is still up in the green, actually crushing new highs as the market's just tapping new highs. So we have been outperforming the market. And so now the question is, I have no real financial exposure here, very overweight defensive type names when we talk about Pfizer, Cisco Systems, Gilead Science, and CVS. These are the type of names that pay dividends and they're fairly safe. The other thing I actually like about is they actually show you what your dividend income is going to be on an annual basis, which is nice to see, and per month. So you can kind of project out the type of stocks you're buying and when they're going to pay out dividends and what you can project out your dividend income could be in that portfolio. So I do like the setup that's coming here with Schwab. I'm just getting used to navigating it. They have a pretty good library of data as well that I'm starting to realize with Schwab. There's some nice tools here to see how your portfolio is performing against the S&P 500. Obviously, my portfolio has only been in here for a day. The S&P 500 is up a half a point. I'm only up 11 basis points. And then if you do add money into the portfolio, it'll show you how much money you're adding. And so I do think SoFi is getting ready to make a big move here, and I may be buying the dip on a trade because I do think that there is some pretty good upside here. I think if we put in a new low, I'm probably going to be out of this trade here, but if we hold these levels, I do think that we could be talking about a catch-up trade to the Robinhood. Just some things I wanted to point out on the chart. So there's some really likable tools on Schwab and really helpful tools as well. We can see where it's trading versus its 20-day moving average, 50-day moving average, 200-day moving average. So it's finding some support here, looks like on the 20-day moving average, and we kind of saw that by the charts. It does a pair comparison on some other banks in its sector as well. Now it's just a matter of getting used to this platform. Really, for me, I was so used to the TD Ameritrade platform, and you still have the Thinkorswim as well. So a lot of things to like about Schwab at this point in time. To me, this could be the brokerage that separates itself from everybody else. You have rating reports on the right-hand side. You have phenomenal charting with the TD Ameritrade platform. So we're probably going to wait for a pullback on SoFi here and maybe deploying some of this, looking to maybe make it 3 to 4% of the portfolio. This is most likely going to be a trade depending on how it responds. Long term, I think SoFi is in an interesting spot. But I'm using this more as a catch-up trade to the Robinhood move, and that it's actually been an underperformer to most banks. It had good earnings. It looks like it wants to break out of this triangle if it holds support, and we'll see how that happens. I'll probably cut losses if it breaks below around $6.80. So if it takes out the recent low, most likely going to be out of the trade. But I'm looking for a breakout in SoFi here. I think it's a pretty interesting setup on this pullback. And I also think it's a company I wouldn't mind holding if I did get caught in the trade. So this is something I'm interested in pursuing. But as always, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for spending it with me. We will see you in the next one.